What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be walking you through everything you need to not only start a business, but also just do your own headlights at home. Right here I have some just normal Honda Civic lights. They're not too bad. They're probably the more standard oxidized light. Your light may look a lot more yellow. Your light may look a lot more blurry. It's okay. This process works for every type of light, no matter how oxidized it is. Everything you need is right here. It might look like a lot, but I'm going to break it down because some of the stuff you're not going to need if you're just doing your own headlights, and some of the stuff you're not going to need if you are scaling a business. So let's go ahead and jump into supplies. So the first thing you're going to definitely need, no matter what you're doing, is microfiber towel. Down in the description, I will have a link to the kit that I use. It comes with the microfiber towel if you get the DIY kit. If you get the professional kit or the starter kit, you do have to provide your own microfiber towels, but they're super cheap on Amazon. You will need a microfiber towel. Second, you will need masking tape or some sort of tape that does not remove paint from the car. Because the headlight I'm using is already off of the car, I will not be needing to do that process, but you simply just tape around the car, around the light, to avoid scratching the paint. The next thing you're going to need is sandpaper. For this specific light, I'm only using 800, 1000, 2000, and 3000 grit. All the grits you need come in both kits, so you don't have to worry about providing your own sandpaper unless otherwise specified, because sometimes they run out of sandpaper and they might tell you, hey, you need to provide your own sandpaper because we're currently out. The next thing you're going to need are gloves for protection, so you don't want to get chemicals on your hands, and application pads. Both of those things come with the kits that I will have linked in the description. This is an optional one. You can have a drill. You don't need a drill. The kit actually does come with a drill attachment. If you use a drill, it just makes the process so much easier. But you can actually use these polish pads by hand. I would just prefer to use the drill. The next thing you're going to need is a Headlight Magic sponge. This is what you're going to be putting your lens prep on to take off all the oxidation, the dirt, the grime, not the oxidation, and also make the lens soft in order to sand. Then the next two things you're going to need are the polish pads. You have your wool pad and your red polish pad. These are what you use after sanding to bring back that clarity to the light. This one you're going to use the heavy cutting compound, and this one you're going to use the micro cutting compound. The next thing I already talked about a little bit is the drill bit. It actually comes detached, but I already screwed it in. This thing's come separated, but you just use this inside of your drill and slap on the polish pads on here as well. The next thing is water. Get yourself a spray bottle off of Amazon for super cheap. The kit does not come with a spray bottle, but they're super cheap, and then you get water from your faucet. I don't use any type of special water, literally just cold water inside of the bottle. Sprayway is optional. I use this because it prevents you having to clean up a huge mess. You can use any glass cleaner as long as it's ammonia free. That is important. Make sure it is ammonia free. The next two things are your polish compounds. So I'm going to go through a couple different things really quick. So right now at Headlight Magic, they actually supply their own polish. Here is a little sample of it for the DIY kit. If you buy the DIY kit, this is what you're going to get. This works for both polish pads. Now, if you buy the Pro kit, they come with a large bottle of this, which also works with both the cutting pad and the polish pad. However, I have just been using these two because it's just what I use. I use the heavy cut on the wool pad and the micro cut on the polish pad. If you buy the Pro kit, feel free to use the polish they give you on both pads. It is completely fine. I just have been doing it this way, so I'm going to keep doing it this way. The next up are your solutions, your special solutions. So you got your little bottle of ceramic and little bottle of prep, and then your big bottle of ceramic and big bottle of prep. Your ceramic is going to be paired with the application pad, and your lens prep is going to be paired with the Headlight Magic sponge. So now that we have all of the necessary items you need, we can go ahead and jump into the process. And like I said earlier, guys, if you need any of the supplies, feel free to leave a comment supplies, or just look in the description of this video. I'll have everything linked below. Make sure you use code BRIGHTLENS at checkout for 10% off. And let's go ahead and get started. So the first step to this process, like I said, is actually taping off the light. So if you have a car, you can go ahead and just take some pieces of tape, slip it underneath the hood, and wrap it up just so you don't accidentally sand off the paint on the car. But because obviously my light is not inside the car, I'm gonna go ahead and skip that step for the purpose of this video. So we're gonna move straight into prepping the lens. So for the first step of this process, this is all you're going to need. These two are the same exact thing, just for different portion sizes. Here is the Headlight Magic Prep, and here is the Headlight Magic Prep. Both will go on the sponge. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your spray bottle, you're going to get your sponge wet, and then wring it out. You don't want it to be dripping wet, you just want it to be damp. Then you're going to get either water on the light or glass cleaner. I use glass cleaner just because it doesn't get everywhere. And put it all over the light like so. Take your lens prep solution, just like this. This one's like an eyedropper. This one also drops as well. And go ahead and put about 10 to 20 drops on the sponge, just all around the place, just like that. And you can see it, you will be able to see it very clearly in person where the drops are. Go ahead and wipe down your light. Wipe down the light for a solid 1 to 2 minutes, just to make sure you remove all that dirt, grime, dead bugs, and also just make sure you soften the light so it prepares it for the sanding process. Now, because this light was relatively clean, you don't see much dirt on this, but there are some instances where you will take off the sponge and it is brown as can be. Don't be frightened. All you need to do to clean these sponges is run it under some hot water and wring it out, maybe some Dawn dish soap as well, wring it out. Another important thing to notice, if you're doing a set of headlights, you do not need to use this twice per headlight. You can use it once, and then when you add more water for the second one, it will reactivate the prep solution. So always remember that. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to our next step now, which is sanding. So before we start the sanding process, make sure you put on your gloves. If you have the liquid glove solution, which they do offer, go ahead and apply that to your hands right now. Just because you don't want to get all this nasty oxidized stuff all over your skin, inside your sores, and you should actually probably do this before you apply the lens prep, but I just forgot. So we're going to go ahead and get sanding. I'm going to go ahead and grab my palm sander, which does come with all the kits right here. Yours might be yellow, mine is black. And we're going to start with the lowest possible grit. So the question I get most often is, how do I know which grit to start on? It's a great question. It's super easy to answer. All you need to do is take a grit, I would say 1000 or 800, put it on your palm sander, get your light wet, and then just don't put any pressure. Just slide your sandpaper across the surface and do the entire light. And I will show you after this with the 800 what it should look like after your first grit. If it's splotchy all over the place and it doesn't look like an even hazy layer, then you probably need to go lower. And like I said before, I'm putting no pressure on the light. I'm just letting the sandpaper glide across, doing its job. As you can tell, I only did this part of the headlight, but I can already notice some spots I missed over here. There's some spots right here I need to redo, and that's always important. Just go back and recheck your job. It needs to be an even matte finish, and then I'm going to jump over and do this section as well. So after I've completely sanded the light, guys, this is what you want to do. Although you won't be able to pick up the light like this if it's on the car, you will be able to check the different angles. You can use your flashlight to check different angles with light. So as you can tell, there's these little spots in between this little crease right here that are still pretty clear. I need to hit those spots to make sure I get all of it matte. And there's a few spots down here that I missed as well. So I'm going to go back again and just double, triple check my job. This is super important. Make sure that your first sanding job is perfect. You need to have a completely matte finish. So I'm going to go back and fix those mistakes right now. Alrighty, the first sanding job is completely done. I went back and fixed those little spots. So now we're going to jump up. So the sanding process usually goes, it just depends on where you start, but pick your, I'm going to lay out on the screen right here a scale of where you go. So the lowest you would ever go is 240, and then 240 to 320 to 400 to 600 to 800 to 1000. You can do 1500 if you want, you don't need to. You can go to 2000, 3000, and then maybe 4000 if you want. So wherever you land on that scale is where you start. So I started at 800, so now I'm going to go up to 1000 grit. Got my 1000 grit right here. And then for this example, I'm going to start using my glass cleaner. I'm going to show you, it doesn't matter what you use. You can use water or glass cleaner. The result's always the same. Usually glass cleaner just makes the job a little bit cleaner, so you don't have to clean up all over the car afterwards. So I'm going to go ahead and just start. Same thing with the 1000 grit. No pressure, just let it glide across the light, taking down the 800 grit level. And then after I finish this, I'm going to answer a few questions that I really commonly get when it comes to the sanding process. Alrighty guys, so one of the most common asked questions I get is, how do I know when to switch grits? So as you can know, I just did the 800 grit and I just did my first pass of 1000. So I'm going to show you what it looks like to not have the proper job before switching. So when you look at it from this angle, you can see that there are these splotch marks. I don't know if the camera will pick it up. Right here and right here, there's these two splotch marks. Those are the 800 grit passes. So I have not fully removed the 800 grit passes with my 1000 grit. So you just have to look at your light as from a different angle and make sure it's a matte finish. So I can tell right here and right here I did not do a matte finish. So I'm going to go back and redo these spots and show you the results. Alrighty guys, so the light hasn't fully dried yet, so it's going to look like there's more splotch marks than there was before. But as you can tell, those two spots that were there originally are completely gone. It's completely sanded down. I'm going to try to let it sit and dry for a second so I can actually show you what it's supposed to look like. As you can tell guys, the angle that I'm at right now, you can see those two marks that were there are not there anymore. You can take a wet, you can take your glove or you take a wet finger, run it across the light and make sure that you have it all evenly sanded, and it looks like we do. So we're going to move on to 2000 grit. Alright, we just finished up the 2000 grit, so now we're going to go ahead and move on to the 3000 grit. I'm going to do 3 passes with 3000 grit just to make sure it's ultra super smooth. I just finished my 3000 grit final pass over after doing 3 passovers. And as you can tell, it's already a lot clearer than it was before. It's already a lot less oxidized. It's still blurry because we haven't polished it yet, but that's our next step. So I'm going to go ahead and grab everything we need, and then we'll go through that. Alrighty, like I said earlier, here's everything you're going to need. Again, I'm going to reiterate, you don't need these 2 types of polish, but these are the 2 I use as a professional. The Headlight Magic Kit does come with their own polish, which works awesome. And just to demonstrate how good it works, I'm actually going to use it instead of my professional grade polishes. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. Go ahead and grab your drill bit, throw it in your drill. If you have a polisher, that's even better. Throw your polisher on there, and then throw the Headlight Magic wool pad on first. Then you're going to take your Headlight Magic polish. Don't even use too much. You don't need a lot at all. You just need a little bit. Just like that should be enough. For this specific light, if your light's bigger, you'll need more. Dab it all over the light in different areas. And then just go to town. Alrighty, after your wool pad polish over, it should be a little bit clear, but not fully clear yet. This next part should basically fully clear up your lens. Grab your polish pad, you have that magic polish, do a little bit more on there just to add a little bit more polish because most of the polish should be in the light by now. Do the same thing, spread it all along the light so it's not just hitting one section, and then polish for another 3 minutes. Alrighty guys, after polish, your headlight should look a whole lot better than it looked before you started. But there is an important thing we have to do before we add the ceramic. Go ahead and grab some sort of cleaner. If you need to use water, you can use water, but use a lot of it. Put your glass cleaner on the light. Take a microfiber towel and make sure you wipe off all that excess polish. You do not want there to be leftover polish on the light when you put the ceramic on. The reason for that is because then the polish acts as a barrier from the ceramic bonding to the headlight, which you do not want. So make sure your headlight is completely wiped down and dry before you add the ceramic. So I'm actually going to go leave this in the sun for a couple minutes to let it fully dry. Alright guys, the last and final part of this full process is the easiest yet most visibly appealing part of the entire process. Make sure the car is completely wiped down. If you need to get rid of any watermarks or anything like that, do that now before you add ceramic. Make sure the car does not need to be wiped down at all anymore before you do this. So, go ahead and grab your application pads. They might be in a rubber band, and just depends on what kind of kit you buy, but mine come in this little baggie. So I have the application pad here, and as you can tell, it's creased this way, so the crease is running along this side. I'm going to fold it like that, again following that crease, and then going perpendicular to that crease, just like that. And you're going to want to take your ceramic coating and put it along this top lip right here, only the top lip. You can use the eyedropper the ceramic bottle comes with, or you can just pour it on, and I'm just going to go ahead and pour it on because it's just much easier that way. And also, if your cap gets stuck like that, like it just did, you can just run your cap under some warm water to loosen it up. But I'm going to go ahead and put 15 to 20 drops along this top area here, just like that. And I don't know if you can tell on camera, but there is a wet layer on top. You're going to go ahead and start first by doing the outsides of the light, just like this. So the outside is done, and now I'm just going to fill in the insides here, following over your last pass, just to make sure you get the entire light. Just like so. And you'll see in person, after you're done applying, you'll be able to recheck your spots, make sure you got everything. And as you can tell guys, your light is completely cleared up now. This ceramic coating lasts up to 3 years, protects it from the sun. So yeah, that's the entire process. It's really simple, super easy, not very expensive. If you want to scale a business, it's a very profitable business. Me being 19 years old, starting this business not too long ago, is making 10 grand, up to 10 grand a month now, just restoring headlights. So I highly encourage you guys, if you're looking for some sort of side hustle to get into, look into headlight restoration. If you want help with that, send me a message, send me an email. Check the links in my description for products. But with further ado guys, Jesus loves you, stay blessed up, and I'll see you guys in the next video.